Alright, a history of martial arts, my personal autobiography. Now, at age 11, I was fascinated by the martial arts. I had watched a lot of martial arts movies, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Iron Monkey, um, Bruce Lee later on. And then prior to that, I had watched Jackie Chan and a few of his movies. And having watched these movies, and then when I was fairly young, I saw my dad in a white gi. I think it was like maybe at age 10, and he went to, and I saw him dressed up in a martial arts gi, and I think he only attended maybe once or twice, but me and my mom and brother had gone to pick him up, and I saw him in that, and I think that maybe inspired me a little bit. I was like, wow, I could do that. So after I got really into it, I started researching, and I decided after seeing Karate Kid, that classic, I was like, I want to practice martial arts. I want to be like these warriors, these men who inspire me. So I convinced my parents to let me and my brother join a Taekwondo dojo. And now this was a Korean Taekwondo dojo from Master Kim, Grandmaster Kim, who flew in from Korea to watch our competitions, our sparring matches. And I was so into it. I was hardcore. And now this is, at age 11, full combat martial arts. We had pads, we had some gear, had some helmets. But these were like kids just under the age of puberty who were just like kicking the shit out of each other, basically, and it was just awesome. And I think the thing about the touch style martial arts, although they're cutesy and maybe there's more less risk. I think if kids are padded up, they're pretty durable and usually they're okay. But so we were in this tournament. And I was up against this other kid, and this kid was going at me, and then I did a flying side kick, and I just knocked him off his feet, and he just did a complete flip in the air. He's like boom, and bam, and he landed on his face, and then he was just crying or whatever. And you know what happened? I got a trophy, and I had that same tournament. I had broken a bunch of boards with my foot and with my hand. And we had pine boards, and we were supposed to break 1 and 2 and progressively break more boards as we advanced in the martial arts. And this was up in South Jordan, I believe, and my parents had to drive us quite a ways to get to the dojo, but I was very adamant about continuing in that. And so then we ended up moving from South Jordan, and my brother pretty much followed in my footsteps, the entire time up until age maybe 16 or 17 when he started to become his own person. So me and him had a wonderful time. We trained in the backyard at our new place in Harriman. We built padded foam weapons as well, which we dueled in the backyard. So at a fairly young age, I was also using, after seeing Star Wars, we had created, they're sort of like amp guard weapons, but harder, like a harder foam and whatnot. And we fought each other quite a lot, and we made even action movies. But going back to my history, the next martial art style I learned was Shaolin Kempo, which is originated from our grandmaster who had traveled to China and studied at the Shaolin Monastery. Now this was the birthplace of martial arts. 5,000 years ago or more, the styles originated with the Buddhist monk, and the whole philosophy was, do what thou wilt, only harm none, for all life is precious, nor can be replaced. And it was all about, check before you, first walk away from a situation, or try to disarm it with your words, check before you strike, strike before you hit, hit before you maim before you kill. So it was progressively using your strength or your knowledge in the least way possible to resolve a situation. The pros and cons of this style. The pros of this style is, although it traveled through and had some modifications from the US and as it traveled through Japan and other places, Kempo, and that's where the Kempo comes from. So it was less traditional but incorporated more weapons and more modern techniques as well, like disarming guns and things that weren't around 5,000 years ago. So I studied that, and there was the 5 animal styles, and you have the snake style, quick, deceptive. For shorter people, usually faster, strikes you strike primarily with the tips of your fingers. A lot of times you hit like this to disarm, and it's a lot flowing, and it's all about like, it's almost like it's similar to ninja in the fact that it's evasive and sneaky and deceptive. Then the next style, the 2 styles I primarily focused in is dragon and tiger. Now dragon is all about the elbows, so you're doing spins and you're striking with the elbows in various manners, and you're spinning around your opponent. So it's a very circular style, and it does have some frontal strikes as well, but it's very circular. And I liked incorporating some circular styles because line beats circle, circle beats line. That basically means that if you have a circular attack like a crescent kick, it can disarm somebody who's just doing punches. However, somebody who's doing like a flying side kick is going to be a crescent kick because it's a frontal line attack. So linear styles like karate, which I'll get into later because I studied that style as well, is a lot more linear, as well as Korean Taekwondo. There's less circular strikes in that particular style. Then you get into like Tai Chi, and you get into Wing Chun and a lot of other things. They're a little bit more on the circular side. So after I studied that style, of course I did Tiger, and Tiger is all about ferocity and power, and and using your claws almost like a tiger. And there's a bunch of things to do with like grappling and takedowns. And Tiger is just very aggressive and powerful, and it just goes in for the kill. It doesn't really care so much about being flowy, circular, or anything. It just dominates. It's an awesome subgroup of Shaolin Kempo. And of course there's Crane, and I didn't do pretty much any Crane, maybe minimal amounts of Crane, because I didn't see the point, because I am not tall and thin, and it's for a tall and thin person. I have broad shoulders, I'm more muscular, athletic build, of average height, so I was much more suited to the styles that I chose. Now somebody tall and thin, Crane style, but that's basically using a lot more like long kicks, and putting your hands behind your back like this, and doing like that kind of stuff, and I was like, it wasn't for me. But overall, the martial arts style was awesome, and then we moved into more and more contact-oriented. The downside was the dojo had a lot of wusses, for lack of a better word, who didn't want to take a punch. Now, I had to learn to hold my punches. 5 students quit because of me, because I was going like too hard or whatever. But like I had studied in full contact, so to tone it back down took some time, but I was able to do it. And then I was still able to go a little bit harder on like some Samoan and Tongan guys in there who were okay giving a punch and taking a punch. The biggest thing with martial arts that you have to know is you need to detach yourself emotionally from the actual act. That means there's no ego. You're completely relaxed, completely calm. We meditated before and after martial arts, and I learned this from age, say, 16 to maybe like 21 or 22. And that style is fantastic, and I eventually studied with a grandmaster, or a master, a 6th degree black belt, and Sensei Perry, and had a blast because I was finally practicing with black belts who knew what they were doing, and practicing with black belts I had advanced into that territory, and I realized that I was no longer gaining anything from practicing with younger students. I was giving. So it becomes a giving-gaining type of relationship. The people under you, you're giving a gift to. You're giving, which is why I'm making this video. It's a gift. Like, you could learn this stuff by going out to a dojo, which I highly recommend, but me giving my knowledge to you is going to help you avoid some pitfalls that I ran into. So basically, listen to your sensei. That's the first thing. Don't do anything illegal, but like listen to your sensei. Your sensei, because like they tend to know what they're doing because they've been doing it a long time. You have to have a lot of respect and deference to a sensei, even if they're cocky, conceited, things like that, because the fact is they still have something to give you and offer you. So if you hold your tongue, then you tend to learn a lot more. So that is at the 10-minute mark, so I will continue more about my history in the next video.